Now, dear address by Mr. Klaus Iohannis, President of the Romania. After this President Iohannis will take questions from the floor. Dear President, on behalf of the Parliamentary Assembly, I would like to warmly welcome you here today. Your presence speaks of your personal commitment to the promotion of democratic values that we share. This Assembly highly appreciates Member States that devote their efforts to the advancement of education. We know that you personally attach significant value to strengthening the link between education, research, and innovation. Listening to you speak yesterday at the ceremony to mark the International Day of Commemoration of the Victims of the Holocaust, you made a clear link to the importance of education in this memory. Your country has also highlighted this is in your exhibition on the Holocaust in Romania. Education plays a key role in the promotion of tolerance and the fight against radicalization. You have stressed more than once the need to turn today's challenges into opportunities, and that in order to reach this goal, we must stand together and defend with greater strength our European values. I'm sure that our members are keen to hear your position on this and another important matters. It's a pleasure for me now to give the floor to you.
Dear members of the Parliamentary Assembly, Mr. Secretary General, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to warmly thank President Agramont for the invitation to be here today and for his very kind introduction. I am truly honored to address this distinguished assembly. My presence is one more proof of the deep attachment and respect Romania nurtures towards the Council of Europe, the first major international organization which my country acceded to after the fall of communism. Our accession to the Council of Europe in 1993 has been one of the first major steps in the process of democratic transition in Romania. It also played a key role for the European and Euro-Atlantic integration of my country. Actually, the 10-year-long new membership of Romania, which we celebrate this year, can be also considered as one result of the tremendous transformative power of the membership of the Council of Europe. The Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe greatly contributed to develop the rule of law in my country and to strengthening the respect for human rights, which characterize present-day Romania. I would like to stress in this context the importance of the Council of Europe legal instruments in consolidating a democratic state. Convinced of this fact, Romania has ratified by now 107 of the Council of Europe's conventions. Through the constant dialogue with the Council of Europe, Romania also became a model, and I speak about it also from my own personal experience when it comes to protecting and promoting the rights of persons belonging to national minorities. The successful Romanian intercultural model recognized as such at European level. This genuine model of interethnic relations entails the active involvement at all levels, whether local or national, of national minorities representatives in the decision-making process concerning not just the minority in question, but the society as a whole. It involves not just the mere coexistence of minority groups with the majority population, which defines the so-called multicultural model, but it also implies the interaction of minority and majority groups, thus fostering an intercultural project. It is a project that enriches our society and civic spirit through cultural diversity. It proves the virtues of interaction and tolerance. In my view, national minorities represent a true enriching asset of a nation and contribute to build solid bridges between states. As regards the Roma minority and their social inclusion, we can assess that our step-by-step multi-institutional approach over the past 15 years produced tangible results. Of course, there are still a lot of things to be done. But the confirmation of our results can be found, among others, in the rise of political participation of Roma, the efficiency of the strategies implemented, and in the figures published, for instance, by the EU Fundamental Rights Agency. I would like to reaffirm, in this context, Romania's strong support for the work of the Council of Europe in this area and our commitment to further work towards the social inclusion of Roma, both in Romania and in Europe in general. As to the keystone of the human rights protection in Europe, the European Convention on Human Rights, it is obvious that the continued efforts of the Strasbourg Court alone are not enough. States parties to the Convention should be the first protectors of human rights. At the same time, we can neither ignore nor tolerate situations when in certain member states judgments of the court are not implemented. On the other hand, Protocol 16 to the Convention will be a factor contributing to a better implementation of the Convention standards through judicial dialogue. Romania already signed Protocol 16, and we are currently in the process of drafting the piece of legislation necessary to introduce in our procedural framework the possibility for the highest national courts to ask for advisory opinions. But the effort started in 2010 regarding the reform of the court, which already showed concrete results, should continue in order to streamline further its activity and improve its overall efficiency. Romania will do its best to support the accomplishment of this goal. Ladies and gentlemen, present-day Europe is faced with multiple crises, unprecedented since the end of the Cold War, and capable to undermine our core values. In this complex context, the Council of Europe's standards and institutions are even more relevant, also as a result of their capacity to regenerate and modernize themselves. I commend, in this sense, not only the activity of the European Court of Human Rights, which I have already mentioned, but also of the Human Rights Commissioner, the Committee for the Prevention of Torture, the European Commission for Combating Racism and Intolerance, Venice Commission, the Group of Experts on Action Against Trafficking by Human Beings, Manival, and not the least, the role of this Assembly. I would like to dedicate a special word to the Venice Commission, whose relevance nowadays cannot be emphasized enough in the light of various evolutions in some European democracies. We benefited a lot from its expertise, from the opinion on the first democratic constitution in Romania in 1991, to the assistance on so many essential pieces of legislation for the rule of law in Romania. Its activity needs to be backed in performing its duties as guardian of the democracy through law, and Romania will continue to support its efforts. I am therefore pleased to inform you that, together with the Secretary General Jagland, I will open in Bucharest on the 6th of April an international conference co-organized with the Venice Commission on the role of the majority and the opposition in a democratic society. It is a highly topical subject against the background of certain evolutions in some member states. I praise the initiative of the Secretary General, who asked the Venice Commission to elaborate guidelines on the matter. We need solid democratic societies where majorities do not abuse their otherwise legitimate rights just because they are a majority, and in which the principle of loyal and constructive cooperation between and among democratic institutions works without failure. In a democratic society, the normal criticism of opposition cannot be seen as a destructive element and cannot be interpreted as a lack of acceptance of the results of democratic elections. It is just part, as legitimate as it is the effort and activity of the democratic majority, of a sound liberal democratic system, which we all need if we want to cope successfully with the current challenges of our time. Dear colleagues and friends, another challenge that we all face, unfortunately, in Europe is the rise of populism, radicalism, xenophobia, and Europhobia. Europhobia is not just against the values of the European Union. It is also very much against the fundamental values, principles, and norms of the Council of Europe. This organization has a key role in fighting these pernicious phenomena which attack the very basics of our democratic society. So we have to fight them with all our forces, instruments, and mechanisms available. Romania will not spare any effort to do so. I am glad that the latest parliamentary elections of December in Romania did not bring any Europhobic, xenophobic, or radical political party into the Romanian parliament, which shows eloquently the maturity of the Romanian society. I do hope that the results of the various elections, which will take place this year in Europe, will prove the same maturity of the European citizens against all odds. Alongside the serious European internal challenges, we are also facing another major threat: violent extremism and radicalization leading to terrorism. The Council of Europe has also taken up an important role in fighting terrorism by strengthening its legal instruments and improving its bodies. Romania firmly condemns all terrorist attacks and reiterates its firm support in combating any form of terrorism. Our common efforts aimed at countering the foreign fighters phenomenon should remain grounded in our need to protect and reinforce our values. That is why Romania and Spain have launched in 2015 an initiative on the creation of an international court against terrorism in order to prevent, deter, and punish terrorist crimes, which I invite you all to support. That is why Romania signed in March 2016 the additional protocol to the Council of Europe Convention on the Prevention of Terrorism, and it will ratify it soon. In a larger context, I would also like to underline that Romania supports every joint action against cybercrime, which is also essential in view of combating terrorism, organized crime, and human trafficking. As a host state of the Council of Europe Cybercrime Program Office, which became operational in Bucharest in 2014, Romania acknowledged the growing need of states to strengthen their capacity to properly combat cybercrime. As you well know, Romania is also a staunch supporter of the democratic process in its vicinity. In this context, the role of the Parliamentary Assembly members in consolidating democracy is fundamental. Romania has strongly supported the Republic of Moldova's democratic development since its declaration of independence in 1991. Romania was the first state in the world which recognized the independence of the Republic of Moldova. After 26 years, we hold firmly that the only path that can bring long-term prosperity to our neighboring state is that of European integration. This goal can only be reached through a profound reform process based on ensuring domestic or political stability and responsible involvement of all political and institutional factors in consolidating this process. This is essential for the state's modernization and the support of its European course to the direct benefit of its citizens. I therefore strongly encourage the Council of Europe community to continue its support for the Republic of Moldova, also having in view the next parliamentary elections in 2018, which will be crucial for the democratic future of this country. As to Ukraine, Romania strongly supports sovereignty, territorial integrity, and unity of our neighbor. The Minsk agreements are the best tool for solving the crisis, and they should fully be implemented. The Council of Europe has also a major role to play in the reform process in Ukraine, and Romania remains a strong supporter of all these efforts. The situation in the Western Balkans is still marked by a certain degree of insecurity, originating in a difficult economic situation, rise of nationalism, organized crime, and the threat of religious radicalization. The strategic importance of the Western Balkans in Europe should motivate us to overcome these difficulties and persevere in projecting our values of democracy, rule of law, and prosperity. For that aim, the EU enlargement process needs to continue, and, as appropriate, EU should consider assuming more creative means and a broader approach. The Council's complementary role has proven crucial in this pursuit. We are grateful for its involvement in monitoring the respect for human rights, protection of the rights of persons belonging to national minorities, and the respect for democratic principles. Distinguished audience, my presence here coincides with the commemoration of the victims of the Holocaust, at which I have taken part yesterday, when I have also inaugurated the exhibition Education and Remembrance, the Holocaust in Romania. And it's taking place during the period in which my country holds the chairmanship of the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance. Raising awareness on the Holocaust and teaching young generations about the tragic events that occurred during World War II has been a top priority for Romania during the last years. As chairmanship of the Alliance, we have strived to provide support to educational establishments and to educators on how to use the lessons learned from the tragedy of the Holocaust to promote knowledge and tolerance in our society. Students across my country have had the opportunity to attend workshops, lectures, study trips and contests meant to equip them with knowledge and skills to adequately relate to this tragic historical episode. Furthermore, Romanian institutions have also established international partnerships for training civil servants and law enforcement personnel in combating anti-Semitism, Holocaust denial, racism, xenophobia, discrimination, and hate speech in public sphere. In 2015, Romania has introduced in its criminal legislation one of the most modern set of legal provisions in Europe which ban extreme nationalism, racism, xenophobia, negationism, and anti-Semitism. This new legislation allows for prosecuting such actions even if performed on social networks. I would like to underline here the importance to combat the threat in spreading the hate speech in social networks and the need for effective institutional instruments to follow and to ban this type of actions. I call all of you to act against this menace. These kind of measures, as taken by Romania, are instrumental in providing the correct reaction when faced with attempts of denying or distorting history and of promoting persons guilty of crimes against peace and humanity. It should be followed by all Council of Europe member states. In May 2016, a working definition on anti-Semitism was adopted with the occasion of the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance plenary meeting in Bucharest. This was a great achievement. But keeping the memory of the Holocaust alive, fighting anti-Semitism and all forms of racism, discrimination and xenophobia is a collective endeavor. I once again praise the activity in this field of the distinguished Assembly and of all the other Council of Europe's institutions. Ladies and gentlemen, I am sincerely convinced that the Council of Europe and its Assembly in particular must and will remain a major player in upholding the rule of law and safeguarding the human rights against the background of the current challenges. A new Council of Europe summit in 2019 would constitute an endorsement at the highest political level of the key role that the Council of Europe plays for the future of our continent. As future presidency of the Council of the European Union in the first semester of 2019, Romania stands ready to contribute to a successful summit of the Council of Europe if the member states will decide to organize it. In Romania's view, the work of the Council of Europe is vital for maintaining and safeguarding our democratic values and principles. I assure you that Romania will continue to make every effort necessary for supporting this essential mission. You may count on me. You may count on Romania. Thank you.